Coming up on today's episode of Airborne Unlimited, NTSB faults drone pilot for collision with helicopter. Santa Monica Airport runway closed for shortening. And GAO says DoT tweet violated anti-lobbying rule. Hello, I'm Laura Hudson. It's December 18th, and this is Airborne Unlimited. The NTSB has released an aviation incident final report from a collision between a U.S. Army UH-60M helicopter and a Phantom 4 drone. The report notes that the helicopter was operating VFR within Class G airspace about 300 feet above mean sea level when it collided with a DJI Phantom 4 small UAS. The helicopter sustained minor damage and landed uneventfully. The small UAS was destroyed. Although the pilot flying the helicopter saw the small UAS before impact and immediately applied flight control inputs, there was insufficient time to avoid the collision. The small UAS pilot was operating the aircraft recreationally and did not hold an FAA remote pilot certificate. Hobby and recreational pilots are expected to operate their aircraft in accordance with the Title 14 Code of Federal Regulations Part 101, which includes maintaining visual contact with the aircraft at all times and not interfering with any manned aircraft. There are no training or certification requirements for model aircraft pilots. During the incident flight, the pilot of the small UAS intentionally flew the aircraft 2.5 miles away. Well beyond visual line of sight, it was just referencing the map on his tablet. A TFR was in effect for the area of the flight, though the helicopter was authorized for flight within this area. After the break, Thunderbirds announced commander leader selection.
Concorde's recombinant gas RG series sealed battery technology produces a high-performance battery with the advantages of being pre-tested and fully charged at the factory. Find out more about Concorde's entire line of batteries at www.concordebattery.com. Concorde, the heart of your aircraft.
Sandia introduces the new SAI 340 Quattro TSO'd airspeed, attitude, altitude, and slip with integral backup battery. Safety never looked so good. See it now at www.sandia.aero.
Welcome back. If you have a story suggestion for Airborne Unlimited, Aero-TV, Airborne Unmanned, the AMA Drone Report, our website or podcast, just email to news-spy@aero-news.net. With so much news coming out of the aviation industry, we're summarizing some other interesting stories in a brief segment we call Around the Patch. Lieutenant Colonel Kevin Walsh will become Thunderbird No. 1, the squadron's commander and lead pilot for the 2018 demonstration season. His responsibilities will include commanding a force of more than 130 enlisted personnel and 11 commissioned officers assigned to the Thunderbirds, along with leading all demonstration flights. Walsh just completed his second season with the team as Thunderbird No. 7, the squadron's operational officer. Swiss regional carrier Darwin Airlines has finally thrown in the towel and admitted it is facing bankruptcy 2 weeks after the Swiss government grounded the carrier. The airline notified its 250 employees last week that bankruptcy was imminent, following several months of attempts to turn the airline around. The trade union, ICST, said that Darwin's staff had not been paid since October. The carrier's planes were grounded in November when its license was revoked by the Swiss Federal Office of Civil Aviation. After acquiring the newly reformed Eastern Airlines brand, Swift Air is expected to cancel an order for as many as 40 Japanese-built MRJ-90 single-aisle jets. Eastern Airlines had ordered the 20 of the regional jets with options for another 20 back in 2014. But earlier this year, Eastern was acquired by Swift Air, which plans to expand the carrier's Boeing 737 fleet rather than take delivery of the Japanese regional jets. The board of directors of Airbus SE has decided on a series of executive changes that ensure an orderly succession in the executive leadership of Airbus. Tom Enders has advised the board that he does not wish to seek another term as CEO beyond his current mandate, which runs until the 2019 annual shareholders meeting. Well, that's it for today's trip around the patch. Now let's move on to the rest of the news. The sheer idiocy surrounding the Santa Monica Airport debacle continues. The Santa Monica Airport runway has been closed for the project to shorten the single landing strip from 4,973 feet to 3,500 feet, under a questionable agreement reached between the FAA and the city. The project is expected to cost the city taxpayers some $3.5 million. The runway was closed last Wednesday to allow the construction to begin. Meanwhile, operations at the airport up until the closure for construction included support for firefighting efforts in Southern California. And the airport recently saw a visit from Santa Claus. Santa visited with many families and children at the airport earlier this week and determined all had been nice and gave them small gifts of pilot wings and airplanes. Santa also received a cookie and card from one of the visiting children. As the fires burn around them, one of many possible emergencies the airport could and will respond to, the city fathers continue to spout populist nonsense while destroying an airport that brought jobs, resources, business, and served them in all manner of circumstances. It brought people to needed medical help, it helped with responses to various emergencies, and so much more, all of which seems to have been swept under the rug by myopic Santa Monica officials. Mark our words, we believe they will come to regret it. After these messages, GAO says DoT tweet violated anti-lobbying rule.
There's a difference between charting a steady course and pushing for the ceiling. And for nearly a century, Hartzell Propeller has been defining that difference. It's in our passion for engineering and research and our dedication to testing the limits of performance. We are built on honor. We are Hartzell Propeller.
Based on the popular Sling 2 LSA, the Sling 4 was designed to be the most practical and desirable lightweight four-place experimental aircraft on the market. Find out more about this 115 horsepower turbocharged airplane at airplanefactory.com.
Welcome back. As it turns out, the privatization battle is about as skewed as we feared. The Government Accountability Office has determined that the U.S. DoT violated an anti-lobbying provision in the Financial Services and General Government Appropriations Act 2017 when it retweeted and liked a tweet urging followers to tell Congress to pass pending legislation. Although DoT was not the author of the tweet, DoT, by retweeting and liking it, not only endorsed the message, but also created agency content, because DoT obligated and expended appropriated funds in violation of a statutory prohibition. DoT also violated the Anti-Deficiency Act. On July 12, 2017, DoT, through its Smarter Skies Twitter account, retweeted and liked a tweet originally posted on the @SteveForbesCEO Twitter account. The tweet stated, "We need to modernize air traffic control. Current system is 70 years old. Tell Congress to pass the 21st Century Aviation Innovation Reform and Reauthorization Act." The tweet also included a hyperlink to the homepage for Citizens for On-Time Flights. On July 13, 2017, the DoT Office of General Counsel noticed the retweet on the Smarter Skies Twitter account and directed that it be removed immediately. Well, that's our program for today. Remember that Airborne Unlimited is currently on our winter schedule and is streamed Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, alternating with Airborne Unmanned on Tuesday and the AMA Drone Report each Thursday. Additional breaking news bulletins may be posted for important stories that fall outside of our normal deadlines. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe and do check us out on Facebook and Twitter. Get comprehensive, real-time, 24/7 coverage of the latest aviation and aerospace stories anytime at aero-news.net. See you tomorrow.